Okay. All right, Lisa, we'll break it in with rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So let's start with your favorite memory that makes you smile. Ice cream memory that still makes you smile.
When we immigrated to America and we bought a Klondike bar, and we had a Klondike bar. That was probably one of my favorite memories because it was like, is this what ice cream tastes like? And we were able to like afford it and enjoy it. So that's one of my favorite
smile moment. Okay, go to pint, bar, sandwich. Did I miss any? Pint, bar, or sandwich? What's your go-to? Pint.
Talenti layers.
Okay.
Always.
And what ice cream would you say shows up most in your home?
Yasso. We've got something for everybody in the freezer. It's that type of freezer.
How about your secret? Do you hide one?
I do have a secret, indulgent, competitive ice cream product that I will not admit on camera.
Okay, so if you were going to bring a flavor back from the vault for a limited run, which one would it be?
It would be Good Humor Toasted Almonds, because the very few people who loved it oh so much still really love it and miss it.
Okay. Moving into leadership. If we asked your team here today, one word, how would they describe your leadership style?
Approachable.
Okay. And then now that we are here at Ad Week, we have to talk about like the best campaigns of the year. What's one campaign, aside from Unilever, of course, and Magnum, that you really admire, that you wish you were a part of, that you helped develop?
Uber recently launched a campaign in the UK for their new Uber trains that I thought was so cheeky and quirky. And I absolutely loved the insight of like how people behave when they get into an Uber, but they were still behaving that way getting into a train. And the like British humor where the conductor is like, what are you doing? Was great. So I think it was just like a perfect combination of people's behaviors and then through humor, which, you know, like when an Uber brand can adapt that, it was pretty cool.
Shout out to Uber. Okay, so if we were to take innovation and describe that similar to a dessert, what would it be for you?
Take an innovation and describe to a dessert?
Yeah, your choice dessert.
I have to go back to Talenti Layers, the bakery collection. So our R&D team basically took the top desserts in the US and deconstructed it and redefined it using Talenti Layers technology. So it's a tiramisu like you've never had before. It's a completely deconstructed snickerdoodle. It's the experience of cookie textures across 5 different layers, from like indulgent to crunchy to smooth. That's just absolutely phenomenal. So I think they took outside occasion like bakery and desserts and brought that into the frozen door aisle, which was just nothing short of craftsmanship.
Award-winning, sounds like.
If you ask me, but I'm biased.
I might be buying that tonight. Okay, so I'd love to talk about your category and the transformation it's going through and how you've been leading through that. I'm not sure that everybody listening today knows, but with your division becoming its own standalone division within Unilever, what does that look like? How are things been going?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of change management, and I think it's for us to take this as an opportunity to redefine the things that serve more to the purpose of the ice cream category, to redefine the stage on which our brands perform and how we want to show up a bit differently. So a bit of a reframing around snacking and product benefits and occasions that we want to connect with consumers on. I think there's an opportunity to almost rebuild or enhance some of the way we do digital marketing, the way we do targeting. So it becomes really a very inspiring way to turn it into a bit of a renaissance, if you will, as we spin off and really become ice cream for ice cream's sake. We will be the largest ice cream company in the world. So getting to be part of the journey that redefines what that means for us is really exciting.
The reset is exciting, especially I feel like every single brand marketer is either here taking it all in or at home doing their year review, thinking about next year. So
Absolutely.
it's a perfect time to think about how do we do in 2025 as we set into 2026. And I'm sure you probably don't love the question, what does great look like? Because there are so many metrics that we can look at, of course, especially in the world of digital. But when you think about that and how you manage with your team, are there a singular metric you all get behind a North Star? Or is it a cultural moment as you set up and look at everything that happened here in 2025 as we head into 2026? Is there that North Star from a metric? What great looks like?
Yeah, we've been using the term from good to great a lot, and so asking people the question of what does going from good to great mean to you has actually been really exciting. And I think because we're redefining so many things, people actually feel very empowered about that. But to answer the question, without a doubt, top line growth that grows faster than the category, so it's competitive growth, is a critical key North Star for us to hit, but also doing it profitably. And so I think from deliverable financial metrics perspective, it's very much about competitive growth in a profitable way. I build on it because it doesn't just happen on its own. It comes from a place where I'd want us to start going faster and moving faster. We have the ideas, we have the expertise, we have the capabilities, and they're incredible. But how do we do it faster? Because I think that's when you truly win in the marketplace. But underneath it all is your people. And so I think you mentioned the idea of culture. You can strive for, top line growth, and you can ask to do it faster. But if your people don't have the sense of accountability, and so if I had to measure something that I would really want to accelerate and highlight and spotlight in our culture would be this element of accountability. Because when people show up and they feel like it's their company, they show up differently. So a couple of, I would say.
Good to greater is more of a possibility.
Exactly.
That happens, for sure.
Exactly.
So when you think, it's mind-boggling. Number one, brand. So you think about there's so much breadth and depth of what you're doing, but I'm sure there's people listening, hopefully listening. And if you're newer and you're testing out, right? I always say, how do you learn faster?
Right.
How would you advise, like when you're looking and working with your team in terms of, we're going to make this investment to see how well this works to scale? Like at what point, what's that advice of when are we ready to scale? What are things people should do when they're testing?
Yeah, it's a great question because, and I'll use like an innovation example. So when we think of an ice cream flavor, an ice cream idea, it's about national launches at every customer, at every retailer, at every channel, and we launch big. And the US is big. And so I think this idea of when we become a standalone, the opportunity to even redefine the way we innovate and the way we launch, where maybe you do something very niche and very specific, and there's so many fun flavored concoctions out there, and just do it with the retailer or do it in a specific channel and understand if there is an interest, if your sales are turning, if velocity is picking up, then that gives us an opportunity to kind of say, okay, we've hit the number of stores we wanted to hit. We've hit the velocity or turns hurdles we want to hit. Let's go to another retailer. Let's go to the next customer. Let's go to more states. And so I think that's an opportunity for us to redefine a little bit of how we launch maybe niche innovations in one market and then see if we want to scale it out either through customers or states.
Velocity, measurement of velocity is key. So we're not going to escape Ad Week without talking about AI. And I always like to say AI from an analytics perspective. And we talk about that a lot in our company, where what are things that AI can do for you that frees you up for high value tasks? How does it let you learn faster? How do you analyze faster? So when you think about your category, for me, it's fascinating, right? Are there analytics and AI applied to new flavors or ways in which you're analyzing your sales data? What are ways marketers can think about AI and analytics?
Yeah. So 3 ways that maybe are most relevant on the marketing side. One is I think AI is reshaping how we gather insights. And so the concept of social listening, whether you're on different social platforms or you're on ratings and reviews or you're on retail.com, I mean, you basically have people always telling you what they think about your brand. And so the concept of social listening is critical, but I think the next step in how we evolve that and the opportunity is about predictive listening. And so this is where a little bit of that AI intelligence comes in, where it takes the data that's being gathered, but also tells you the next 3 years, the next 5 years, here's what predictive listening could be. So I think that's very interesting in the case of AI. We've been tapping into AI to really accelerate creative development. And so while I think the art of creative and storytelling is never going to go away, I think AI helps you scale. So when it comes to creative development, that's where AI is truly an enabler. And we've done a ton of creative development from brands like Breyers to Klondike to Talenti, where it just becomes about quicker and faster. You still need the key component of, what makes Talenti Bakery Collection really special, but then the ability to have 30 different pieces of content that tailors to the people who just love tiramisu or love a snickerdoodle, etc. We just do it so much faster, and we've really actualized at least 40% of cost reductions, which is phenomenal. And we go from 3 months of development to 1 week of development. So I think it's something we have to lean into from a creative development perspective across the board. And we're slowly starting to really turn campaign optimization into a bit more of artificial intelligence development. So where AI comes into the campaign while it's live and quickly optimizes the creative and continues to measure if it's become more effective, if it's giving you more views, if it's giving you more engagement rates, so on and so forth.
I mean, that's award-winning 40% right there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, I mean, it's interesting, Lisa, your background, especially in finance and analytics, which I think a lot of people in marketing might initially starting out be intimidated by that, as opposed to how you just described the tool it can really become to make us smarter as marketers. How do you work with your team and your agency partners and your partners in general to apply that foundation that you have as it relates to, some people might say, hey, Lynn, why are you asking that question? A creative brief, data doesn't come into play, or the piece of which where we're deciding about an investment or measurement. So how do you use that amazing foundation to empower not just your internal teams, but all your partners to take that approach?
It's a great call out. So we actually recently, and I'll use Talenti as an example, where we did social listening and we put together a bunch of different insights from consumers and then inspired the creatives with what does Talenti truly stand for? And so instead of the creative team saying, okay, this is what we want to stand for, we use the consumer insights to say, here's the number one thing that makes Talenti recognizable, a transparent jar. And then the way that kind of focus the creatives, but also unleash them to take it into many different directions to identify, okay, then what do we want to stand for as it relates to being transparent? And so it was very interesting. So I think social listening to really bring the insights to life into a creative brief has been a fascinating opportunity for us. Flavor trends, so especially in an ice cream category, everybody wants to talk about their favorite ice cream flavors. And of course, sometimes you end up in, lavender, chamomile-like concoctions. But in a lot of other cases, there's opportunity for us to do more of that social listening and predictive listening to feed back into the R&D labs to say the future of wellness beyond protein is, what prebiotic, probiotic, hydration, refreshment. But what does that mean 3 years from now? And so we've used a lot of that as well to incorporate some of even our products and R&D briefs.
Wow. It gives us a lot to think about. So for everybody listening, I think marketers starting out in their career, they aspire to one day be a CMO like yourself. And I always have felt like everybody has potentially multiple career defining moments, or that one moment where things change. Was there a career defining moment for you along the way that led to how you lead today?
That's a great question. I think when I actually stepped into this role as the CMO and I realized how privileged and lucky I am to have this array of brands in the portfolio, that I get to tell their story, and I get to write the next wave of their stories. And that was really a defining moment when we were looking just at the future of our portfolio. And I think I was in a boardroom with an opportunity to present, the next 5 years, what I could do with these brands. And that's when I realized this is really cool. And shortly thereafter, I think I did career day in one of my kids' schools, and I just put up, a PowerPoint slide with just our top, 12 items of the ice cream category, and it was everything from Breyers tubs to Klondike, etc. And the amount of squeaking of these fifth graders. That's when you realized, what I do for a living is really fun.
It sounds really rewarding.
Yeah.
An inspiring moment. So as we inspire the new to marketing, right? People earlier in their marketing career, standing out, right? Especially in the world of digital where there are so many options, there's so many ways to go to market.
Yeah.
Is there advice you'd give to the early to marketer folks in terms of how they stand out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, before even trying to stand out, listen. I think it's just a great life skill all in all together. But listen to your consumers. They're always talking at you. So start talking with them. And I think then breakthrough happens from there. When consumers see that they're being heard, you get to tell them what it is that they want to hear. And that to me is a key enabler to really show up in an authentic way. You have to be authentic. Consumers will see right through you trying to just do a marketing message that's self-serving. So when you show up as a brand, when you show up as a category in an authentic way, I think there's an element of a connection that's even more important, that carries forward, that turns into loyalty. And that's where brands really become part of consumers' lives versus their social feeds.
That's great advice. As we wrap up this year, like what energizes you most as we head into 2026? What's the energy force that you're feeling?
I think I'm very energized about becoming an ice cream company for ice cream's sake. Our motto headline is "Life tastes better with ice cream." So I think if you just even let that digest and think about what that means for you, right? How do you sort of take life to the next stage in a world where you work in an ice cream category? So I'm very excited about getting to define the kind of ice cream company we're going to be. The US is the largest market, is the largest country for the Magnum ice cream company. And so in a lot of ways, we get to lead the path, we get to set trends. And I look forward to taking our culture and our people into a direction where they're ahead of the trend, where they are the market makers, where they are defining what wellness can look like in our category. I think it's going to be a great year.
I can't wait to come back next year, see all the joy that you've created. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.